And so I'm going to pass the baton over to you now, Joe. With now sports coming back and everything going on, what's your hype meter on sports coming back, especially with NFL around the corner, and potentially other professional sports?
Yeah, I mean, of course, I'm excited, like anybody else, I think, as a sports fan, to have all these things on the horizon. But, I don't think it's necessarily at the forefront of my mind as much as it used to be.
Yeah.
I think, like, having that gap where there wasn't anything going on kind of really, I think, put life into perspective for me, that there's more to life than championships and watching multi-million-dollar athletes run around a field and chase a ball. So I mean, that it's great. Don't get me wrong, I will be watching the NFL. Hopefully they stay around for the next few weeks, and I'll be able to watch them. I know that CenturyLink won't have fans obviously in the stands for the next for those first 3 games, and we don't even have a preseason right now. But I'm excited, yeah. But I think in perspective of I would rather try to entrench myself into sports rather than really look at kind of the issues that are going on in our world. And that, I know that sounds kind of selfish as a pre-COVID Joe, but you get stressed out with a lot of different things, and you'd rather dig yourself into this sports world that you have, and figure out what's next. But I mean, having that gap and thinking about all the issues like Black Lives Matter and the election that's coming up and how important that is, and COVID, and what the world is doing right now because of it. All those issues I think are more at the forefront of my mind than how sports was at the before all this happened. And so I get the updates. I'm hyped. I can't wait to win obviously another fantasy football championship. But I think my focus, at least on the next few months, will obviously be on the things that actually kind of matter right now in the world. And so so that's kind of where my focus is at least now. If everything was normal and we were in non-coronavirus times, and obviously this, I'd be like, yeah, man, I'm hyped. It's going to be a great time. I just have other things that I think have finally taken more precedent in my head rather than these things. So,
right.
So I mean, maybe it's a sign of maturity. I don't know.
Yeah.
But
or just
I
finding
think
new things.
Yeah, I mean, you're just finding new things to invest your time in, and I've really thought about that, I think, over the last few months for sure. So,
right.
So yeah, I mean, go Hawks, go Russ, let Russ cook. I mean, Shedlong doesn't know how to play defense. What else? Go Kraken. Jamal Adams is awesome. Jimmy Lake is going to win us a Pac-12 championship again when football returns to Montlake.
Yeah.
But right now, I think this time has to really put, I think, everything into perspective for all of us.
Yeah.
So those are kind of my thoughts on it.
Yeah.
Fire Larry Scott.
And fire Larry Scott. Yeah.
Yeah. And Earl Thomas, please come to the Seattle Dragons. And so. But let me no, those are all great, because you're right. Because can you imagine if cell towers were knocked down and we can't even use our cell phone anymore for 6 months? Can you imagine what we would be doing at that time? We would be finding so many new ways to accomplish things. It's kind of like the small equivalent of that. COVID took away sports, and which is usually a big part of our lives. We found new ways to fill it in. So, everything you said is pretty amazing. But riddle me this. Let me flip it on the fun side a little bit. So a little backstory to our listeners. Pre-COVID, people who are fanatics of sports, and we all are fairly fanatics of it. You see all the memes. You see your favorite sports team blowing it at the buzzer beater and punching the TV screen and getting very angry and upset over little things. So, Joe, riddle me this with that little backstory. Let's see, 3 games into the Seahawks season, the NFL season. We got a big game against the 49ers. They're on the 1-yard line, and we are down by a touchdown. We're 4th and 1. Instead of handing it off to a running back, Russ throws another pass, intercepted, game over, 49ers win. How are you feeling after everything you just said?
Still angry. I am still angry. Don't worry. Okay, so here's a funny story. I was watching a replay of I didn't know I was watching a replay of a Mariners game, and so it was like one of the Root Sports like replays from the other night. They were showing it like on Friday. The Mariners had an off day, and I didn't know what was going on. Daniel Vogelback, R.I.P. Like hit like this nasty home run, and I was going nuts. Right, I was like, "Oh man, we're killing it right now." Blah 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 blah. So I was like asking Alexa later on. I couldn't watch the rest of the game, so I left. And I was like asking Alexa, "Hey, what's the Mariners score?" Blah 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 blah. And then I go back and I figured out. Oh, I was just watching the replay. So obviously, I'm still hyped about sports, man. I love it. I mean, I obviously yes, everything I just said, very meaningful, right? But yeah, I'll be still pissed off at the 49ers. I'll still I mean, I still cover Coug shit in whatever store I'm at with Husky gear. I mean, there's still a rivalry in there.
Yeah.
But it's just like it's not at a. It's a different time.
Right. Well, let me rephrase. So it's not that you're a hypocrite from everything you just said. It's just that you're able to find some new things to be passionate about that you probably wouldn't have discovered.
Bro, if the Mariners right now were in the playoff hunt and they were doing really well, obviously, yes, I'd probably be watching right now.